everybody. I am Cortland.
I'm Justin, and this is episode 2 of Better Off Red, your weekly Reds talk show. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Our live show airs every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube. Recordings are made available shortly after that, and the podcast version, the audio version, is available later that night. Cortland, how you doing? How are we feeling after that game that just happened?
Optimistic.
That's a weird way to feel after a game like that, but I am the same way.
Right. There's a lot of good things to look at. There's a lot of bad things to also look at. So we'll get into those later. I don't know. It's a very hard opening game against the Cardinals, who are a very good team, both offensively and defensively. So, I mean, I just feel that for what happened in the beginning of the game, they did a pretty good job to bounce back a little bit, and we'll spare all the details for later. But yeah, I'm optimistic. So
I am too. There's one thing though I would like to talk about. This is kind of Reds related, but it's more personal between us. So if you all watched last week, you probably heard that we had a fantasy draft this weekend, and Cortland couldn't make it because it was his wife's birthday.
Yes,
and you also, what's that?
I'm a good husband.
Yeah, he is. But then you also heard throughout the episode his love for Jonathan India.
Yes.
Well, our draft's an auction draft, and Cortland wasn't there for the draft. And when India comes up, I intentionally put India up because I'm like, oh, I'm going to get him now. I have a ton of money. Cortland has a ton of money, but he's not here. So I throw India up on the board. Then in the chat, it says Cortland Bowman has joined the draft, and he bids him up to like $20. And it was just tragic. And then, yeah, we had a text conversation. You can read about that on Twitter. But yeah, you snagged him from me.
Yeah, and I think it worked out in my favor. At least so far today, he looked pretty great. But yeah, in all fairness towards you, I had no idea that he was on the board. I was just periodically checking through the draft just to see who was up, and I happened to upon like, oh, Jonathan India's up, and he was at maybe like $5, and so I was like, I'll just throw out an offer that nobody should go after. I didn't realize how late it was in the draft.
When I did that. Near the end. Like no one had any money.
And I had all of my money. I think I had one player be taken by the computer. So, I mean, that's just the way the cookie crumbles when it comes to fantasy sports. And I've been doing it for a while. So maybe it was a little intentional, but whatever.
Well, it irritated me. I did end up with Senzel, which we'll talk about him as well later on this episode. If you didn't catch the game, we'll recap it for you. If you did catch the game, we'll just reminisce together. So it opened up. I watched the opening part, like the ceremonies, and they did a really touching memorial tribute to players like Johnny Bench. And then, of course, Mike Bell, the brother of David Bell, who passed away on March 26th. And man, it must be really difficult for David Bell to get out there just days after his brother passes away from cancer at such a young age too. And I don't know, it was just a really touching tribute. I can't imagine what it was like to be there.
Yeah, they also touched on a lot of other like Reds legends, and David Bell's brother actually played for the Reds in 2000. I think he was only there for 1 year, but they like made it a big thing to talk about everybody who they lost within this last year, and there was quite a few people. But it was really cool. Just to throw this in there, I know you have tweeted a little bit about Bally Sports, where they changed from Fox Sports Ohio.
Yeah.
I kind of liked the introduction to the game. It was different than Fox Sports, but it was cool. It was like very immersive. It kind of felt like you were kind of there on opening day. So I give kudos to them on that. But again, I didn't get to see all of it. You were the one that mainly saw it. But let's talk about the weather.
Yeah, so it was 37 degrees today and snowing in some parts. And maybe that is what caused some of the problems, especially early on as players were adjusting from the warm Arizona weather, coming back to the cold Cincinnati weather. 37 and snowing on opening day. That's crazy.
And I'm sure it was very windy, because I know here today it was pretty windy, and I'm right. We're both right on the river also. So, I mean, to be 37 down there and right behind the stadium's the river, I'm sure it was not fun for baseballs in the air.
Yeah, I mean, typically when it's cold, yeah, the ball doesn't fly. You don't get a lot of runs, but there were 17 runs scored today, which is outrageous.
Yeah, and a couple, I mean, a decent amount of home runs too. I mean, they weren't just scored off hits. Like there was a couple bombs today that you wouldn't think happened, but quite a bit happened. Go ahead and talk about those scores with the hits.
Okay, so the Reds did lose to the Cardinals 11-6, which is really unfortunate. The Cards had 10 hits, the Reds had 10 hits. The only difference being the score, and the Reds had 2 costly errors, both from Suarez, which his first official game as shortstop in a long time. After the second inning, there were no problems defensively, it seemed like. The last time the Reds gave up 11 runs on opening day was in 2010 against the Cardinals, and that year was a good year. So I will expect no less than an MVP from this team and clinching the division, because that's how we do things now. The history repeats itself. That's what I want.
Yeah, 11-6. You don't like to see it on opening day, but again, to be able to score 17 runs in 37 degrees, I mean, that is pretty nuts. And with 2 errors, the game would have been extremely close, if not for the Reds, if we didn't have those. But we'll talk about those later.
I mean, the first 2 innings. I mean, if you take the first 2 innings out, which obviously you can't because that's not how the game is played. But I mean, you have a very close game. Yeah. Where the Reds, you could say, outperformed the Cardinals after inning number 2. I mean, now the Cardinals still put up, I think, 4 or 5 runs after that, but the Reds put up, 5 or 6. I don't know. Yeah. It was a much better game after the second inning for the Reds. A lot of reason to be optimistic, and one of those reasons, Cortland, is your guy.
Yes,
Jonathan India.
So Jonathan India made the roster, and not only did he make the roster, he is the starting second baseman on opening day. He looked awesome defensively. I know, it's weird to say, he looked great fielding the ball, but he looked very technical. It was really
very natural.
Yeah, a double in the 4th, that was his first major league hit, and he had a at-plate appearance. He kind of got robbed on a strikeout. It was hello, James. Yeah, I completely agree with you after today. But he also had another potential run scored that was taken off due to a base running error by Stevenson, because he did not cross plate before Stevenson got thrown out. Actually, ESPN had it as a score, because I was texting Justin during the game, and I said, "Is it 11-7?" Because when I got home, it said 11-6. So he had a great day. Did amazing, hit the ball well, fielded the ball extremely well, and just looked like he was having so much fun out there.
Yeah, he did. That error by Stevenson, I mean, that sucks. There's no way around it. And it's hard to say if that would have, shifted things and the Reds would have won. It did sacrifice a run. We know that. And it potentially sacrificed more that we'll never know about. It's a costly error for a young player to make, but I mean, I'm telling you, it's one that'll stick with him for a while, if not forever.
And again, he's also, like you said, he's another young guy, and I think with the momentum being shifted when it did happen, the pressure might have got to him a little bit, because they were on a run there for a second trying to make a decent comeback. And so, like you said, hopefully he'll learn from his mistake and he'll turn it around come next game. Also, India was 2 for 4 with that double.
Good game.
And so he's batting 333 on the season after one game, but
2 for 4 is 333.
Or wait, hang on. I was looking at the wrong. No, sorry, he's 500. I was looking at the wrong guy. No, so he's 500, which is much better than he was doing in spring training. But again, it's one game. I'm just very happy because I stole him in the draft, and he's just fun to watch. Another guy that kind of was stabbing me in the heart a little bit throughout this game was Suarez. So, is Suarez the shortstop of the future, or is he just the shortstop for a temporary time? He had the costly error, like we said, in the first inning that resulted in 5 runs and the 6-0 lead to the Cards. He had another error in the second, but he did hit a home run in the fourth. And he looked like he kind of shook everything off, and he was playing pretty well after the fact. He didn't do anything too crazy after the errors in the home run, but to be able to go out there and, like he said, he wanted to have 50 home runs and just have a really great season. To be able to get one under his belt in the first game, especially with the 2 errors, I think he'll bounce back pretty hard Saturday. So I think it's just working out the kinks. That's a very hard position to learn at every level of the game. And not that he doesn't need to learn it. He just needs to relearn it because he did it before. And it's just going to take some time. With India at second, though, I think that might make him feel a lot better because India played so well defensively. It might take some pressure off come the next game. But yeah.
So I'll talk about the person I hyped up heavily last week, and that'd be Nick Senzel. And unfortunately, he did leave the game after going 0 for 1 with 1 strikeout. He left the game. He got hurt on an amazing defensive play. We'll show it to you right here. Just really dove for that ball, kind of came up. It looks like it's on the throw here. A lot of them were talking about his leg, but you can see when he makes that throw, it's his right shoulder that is injured. It could be the way he landed on it there, or it could actually be when he fires it to the cutoff man. But Tyler Naquin had to replace him, and then actually Aquino came in to relieve center field duties. It is not the shoulder that he had surgery on in 2019. He had surgery on his left labrum. This is his right shoulder. So that's good. We're not talking about an injury, re-aggravating an injury. However, we could be talking about something way more serious. Yeah. But just a few moments before we went on here, C. Trent Rosecrans from The Athletic said that David Bell said, "We will not know the full knowledge of what to expect until tomorrow, but the indications are that he'll be okay. He hopes to have him back in the lineup this weekend." So that sounds very promising. Doesn't seem to... I don't think that it's serious now. It could just be, he jammed it kind of funny. I mean, who knows? But I'm feeling way more optimistic now than what I was 2.5 hours ago.
Right. Another thing that we kind of talked about during the game when he did go out, I like Naquin. I've watched him with the Indians when he was with them, and he was a good guy to come in and do some stuff when they needed him to. And he was a pretty decent fielder, but he didn't do too hot today. And the same with Aquino. He did not do good at all. And if Senzel's injury isn't serious, it's not that big of a deal. But if it's more serious than they're making it out to be, that kind of stretches the outfield a little thin with Shogo Akiyama still out also. But I have confidence in both those guys. I think Aquino we were just all a little high on from last season. So, and especially with 2019. And especially with the chance to come back today like they had, and he came in, everybody was just like, oh yeah, here we go. Like we had some bases, runners on bases, and he stepped up to the plate and didn't do much. But it'll be interesting to see. That'd be great if he could come out.
We did get a comment, wanted to know how the Reds did today. You just missed us talking about it. They went down to the Cards, what did it say, 11-6 or 10-6?
11-6.
11-6, unfortunately. Didn't take the win today.
6 of those runs were in the first inning for the Cardinals. So, I mean, it could have been a better game, but.
Yeah. So Castillo took the mound today. Castillo's solid. Always is solid. Always a sure thing to go long into games and punch guys out, and that didn't happen today.
I was high on him last week as well. You had Senzel, I had Castillo, and he did not do good today. It was hard for me to watch. Again, I was the guy hyping him up so much last week. But man, if it was the cold, I can only hope that it was the cold. It was rough to watch. He went 3 1/3 innings. He had 8 hits, 9 runs, and 8 earned with 0 strikeouts and 2 walks. 0 strikeouts.
I know. That's crazy.
The announcers today were talking about that after he came out. I don't know who got the first strikeout after he was done pitching. But when they did, they said, it's hard to believe that that's the first strikeout for the Reds today. Castillo didn't have any.
I think it was Berdosian who got the first strikeout.
And that was rough. 8 earned runs ties Castillo's career high. So it was very rough for him. I think he'll bounce back. I mean, like you said, 37 degrees, windy, playing in Arizona. He's used to playing in warmer climates. Could have just been a huge shock to the system today. The other guys came in. Romano and Fuller looked good. They each pitched 2 innings with 2 strikeouts. So the other pitching staff didn't do bad. It's just the first inning to the game with the 6 runs. And I know they were just trying to let him work the kinks out and hoping that his breaking balls would start to fall for him, but they just fell right over the middle of the plate. And he was throwing high too. So he'll bounce back. Just hard to watch on the opening day. Just kind of made it a bummer. But the other guys, the guys you don't really ever hear that much about, they did pretty good coming in for him. So not bad.
Yeah. So yeah, Romano and Fulmer, Sal Romano, they both look great. Votto had an RBI single. Yes. It was nice to see him. It was such a short return to spring training, come in and contribute right away. Winker went 2 for 4 with 2 runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Castellanos gave us this bomb right here. He went 3 for 5.
A little bit of a dance there.
Yeah, I know. He went 3 for 5 with 1 home run and 2 RBIs. Yeah, watch this. Yeah, he's loving it, man. He's loving opening day in Cincinnati with fans in the stands. Suarez, like we mentioned, 1 for 3, 1 run scored, 1 RBI, 2 walks. Moose was a little disappointing today. I mean, he was 0 for 2 with 1 RBI, 2 walks, but I mean, there were a lot of situations where he could have been a difference maker, and I just don't. I mean, the bases were loaded, I think twice, maybe. Mm-hmm. Just a little disappointing from Moose. I know he'll bounce out of it. It's the first game. He's a solid hitter, has a lot of pop. I mean, I'm not worried about it. It just would have been nice if he could have showed some of that pop today.
Yeah, he had a lot of it. It just didn't help that the opportunities that he was presented with were huge. It's okay if he has a day where he doesn't hit, but he did have some opportunities to get some multiple runs scored if he could have popped one right in the center field.
One of the reasons it was so painful that his pop wasn't there is because the person hitting after him after the Senzel injury ended up being Aquino. Yeah. Aquino went 0 for 3 to no one's surprise and left a total of 6 runners on base throughout the game. Yeah. I mean, I want to believe in Aquino. I really do. But he's not showing me anything. He's not showing anybody anything. And I have to believe the only reason he made the club is because he's out of options. Minor league options, and no one, like, they don't want to cut him loose because the potential is there.
Right.
I mean, you could cut him and then the Dodgers could turn him into like their next, all-star. But like, it's just frustrating to watch him go out there, especially when the game, like it was pretty bleak from the beginning, but then the comeback made it, it gave us all hope. They started to come back a little bit. But then to go, bases are loaded or there's 2 on or whatever, and then Aquino comes to the plate, and you're just like, oh,
it's like the knife was in, and then Aquino gets up and he twists it. And we were hoping he would pull it out, but it didn't happen.
Yeah. Barnhart, he went 0 for 1 with 1 run scored, and they pulled him pretty early. I think when Castillo was pulled, Stevenson got the bulk of the playing time. He went 1 for 3, had that costly running mistake where I know we talked about it a little bit before, where India was in scoring position, he tagged up, and then he was just too close. He got stuck at second base. He didn't tag up. And, it's a costly mistake. It's one I hope he remembers forever and grows from it.
Yeah, we had some reactions. You were live tweeting the game, and we had a couple people were not very happy with that mistake on his part. They were saying it's something that the organization does too much, and if they continue to let it happen, it'll happen more often. I don't side with that side of it. Again, I'm an optimist, not so much a pessimist, but he's young. And again, it was the inning that they were right before that. They started getting the runs in. They had Indy on third. he could have just been overly like ready to go to get the second. And if he didn't do that, it doesn't turn the double play and the inning kind of went on. But he's young. He'll learn from it. He's got a good bat. So it's just something that's going to come with time. Learning to run the bases against these guys, especially against the Cardinals defense, is a very tough ask. So he'll come out of it. I'm not too worried. All right. For the rest of the division, and I know that it's April 1st, so April Fool's is in full-fledged, but this is not an April Fool's joke. The Pirates beat the Cubs today, and they beat them 5-3, which is pretty I mean, coming from a Cincinnati fan, I'm shocked, but coming from a baseball fan and how the Pirates have been in terms of just getting rid of literally everybody they have, to turn around and beat the Cubs on opening day, pretty shocking. We'll see if it continues. I don't think it will.
No, I hate the Pirates. I do, but they do have the player that is most likely the favorite to win the NL Rookie of the Year.
Also, what did he have today? Do you know?
I know he had it. I think he had a home run. Let me see if I can pull that up. Pirates box score. Pirates booty was the first search thing. Like even Google doesn't take the Pirates seriously.
Click that one. Yeah, don't click that one.
I'm not going to. Let's see here. The Pirates, they won 5-3. Yes. Brian Hayes. He was 1 for 5 with 1 run. 2 RBIs, 1 walk, but that 1 run, that 1 hit was a home run. So
yeah. Somebody else for them today, if I am correct, I think Todd Frazier had a day. I think he did.
No, Austin Frazier. Todd Frazier, I think, got cut.
Okay.
I was just like, no.
I saw Frazier on the ticker at the bottom of the screen, and it was like 2 for 4 with like 2 runs batted in stuff. And Austin, I was like, Frazier. Oh no, that would have hurt. But good. That makes me happy.
So I hate the Pirates, as every good Reds fan should.
Yeah.
But man, that Brian Hayes kid, he's going to be a pain. Like, I don't look forward to playing them. I mean, it should be an easy win still. Right. Maybe. I mean, the Cubs lost, but to Brian Hayes, man, he does have it.
It's fun though. Like, it kind of adds fuel to the rivalry to have if India can keep it up and have him go at each other. Like, that would be so fun to watch. Like, see these games play out with those two on the opposing sides. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Pirates. It's a funny joke. On to the other teams. The Twins and the Brewers went to extra innings today. Milwaukee comes out with the win in the extra inning, 6-5. So good win for them. I think with the Cubs losing, I mean, it could have just been a fluke. That was part of my bold prediction last week. I felt the Reds were going to be second in the division. I like the looks of this. Because I'm not too worried about the Pirates, even though they won, and the Cubs losing. Kudos to that.
So the Cubs got worse too through off-season trades. Did. So perhaps this just tells us the Cubs are worse than we thought they might be, or it could just be it's one game.
Right. But the Brewers 6-5 against the Twins. That's a respectable win. I think that they'll be third. That was my initial thoughts on everything. So, you have any thoughts around the league?
No. So we are tied for, I guess, last in the division with the Cubs, while the Cardinals, Brewers, and Pirates have a strong grip on first place. Let's talk about some injury updates. And I did just think of something we didn't put in our notes. This is supposed to be our season preview where we make predictions, but we can do that later. That's not a big deal. Injury updates. Sonny Gray, pitching coach Derek Johnson said that he expects Gray to return mid-April. He did throw 3 innings and 43 pitches during an inter-squad scrimmage just yesterday, where he struck out 7 out of the 10 pitchers he faced. Does seem a little optimistic, a little promising.
Yeah.
Where he was out so early, he'll probably need an extended spring training or an alternate site game or something like that. I don't know what they're doing in the years of COVID, but it sounds like he's close.
And I was going to say, we talked last week, they said a week into the season. So mid-April is not too far from that, about it giving him a little extra half week to a week maybe to get everything ironed out. Because if he's throwing 3 innings, throwing 43 pitches, I mean, if he's throwing good 43 pitches, that's a solid game. So that is optimistic. I like to see that. We also have news on Shogo Akiyama. He's been playing catch and running in a pool. So as far as rehab goes, that's a good sign. He's still expected to miss a couple weeks due to his injury. And again, with Senzel, we could see some Naquin and some Aquino get a lot more playing time. So it'll be interesting to see how the outfield plays out in the next couple of weeks.
Michael Lorenzen also injured. He had a minor setback yesterday, or he had a minor setback recently. He will begin throwing again today. He did take reads in the outfield during batting practice yesterday, so he is out there getting active. Hopefully, we'll see him soon. After Castillo and Tyler Mahle, the bullpen or the rotation's kind of unknown. So I'm a little nervous about what's going to happen with that.
The good thing about him, I think, in terms of the rehab part of it, is where he does play different positions. It might help him get back a little bit faster. He's a dude that I follow on social media, and he's constantly training to do stuff during the off season and during regular season. So I look forward to getting him back. And if he was taking reads in the outfield, that's a good sign. I mean, if he was trying to jog around, get loose, and throw the ball in, like, that could be pretty good for his rehab. So interesting stuff.
So I mentioned the rotation was, kind of a mystery after Tyler Mahle goes on Saturday. So Mahle pitches Saturday, Jeff Hoffman on Sunday, Jose De Leon on Monday, and then Wade Miley on Tuesday. I feel good about Tyler Mahle. I had him picked to be the Reds' best pitcher just last week. I think he had a rough spring outing after that, if I recall, but I mean, I still think he's got, good stuff. Jeff Hoffman's a bit of an unknown. I'll need to look more into him. Jose De Leon has a ton of potential. Wade Miley, we said he was bad last week, and then he had a really good game, and
he did.
If I say he's going to be good, he'll be bad. I'm just not going to say anything about Wade Miley. He's a big fan of the show, and he likes to do things to spite us here at Better Off Reds. So we'll say that's what's happening. Wade Miley, friend of the show. I don't know. I really want Sonny Gray back.
It just hurts so bad today. I mean, I'm kind of like chomping at the bit for anybody after today. But again, I am happy to have scored 6 runs after being down 6-0. Pretty much 7 with the error on the base running, but it's an optimistic outlook for a very young team that's putting people in places that they haven't been in a while. Also, if anybody is tuning in, you might see our co-host Justin this Saturday. So be sure to watch the game.
I'll be in the nosebleeds because I thought that they were going to do the upgrades through the ballpark app again, and they're not. That's my life hack.
It's a great one. I did it once with him, and it was pretty fun. So
I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you can probably figure it out based on the pieces we put together, and you have to remember it for a whole year, or until they lift the restrictions. I don't know. Let's so we didn't prepare an actual season preview, even though we said we were going to, but let's make some predictions now. We didn't plan this part. When the All-Star break happens, which Reds are going to be at the All-Star game?
I'm going to say India. I'm going to say
India.
Yeah, I'm going to say India.
Jeez. Okay, that's bold again.
I'm riding high. So
you sure are, man. God, he's your ride or die, isn't he?
Yeah, he is my ride or die. until he proves me wrong, I'm following him all the way.
I don't think that will happen, but maybe it will.
I'm gonna say, with how Castillo did, I'm going to put Sonny Gray there in terms of pitching. So those would be my 2 guys.
So I'm putting no Reds pitchers there. Well, no, I take that back. I'm putting one, and we actually haven't even seen this person pitch yet. I'm going to say Amir Garrett's going to make a trip there.
Okay.
I'm going to say Nick Blastianos.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say Suarez. On his way to 50 dingers, he's going to make a stop at the All-Star game, which I don't know where it's even being held this year. They may not even be doing one. I don't know.
Let's see. We can figure this out.
Yeah, let me see where the All-Star game is going to be. Typed in MLB All because I'm an old person when it comes to technology. The MLB All-Star game is in Atlanta, Georgia this year, and it'll be on Tuesday, July 13th, and that's where you'll see my predictions be, but not Cortland's because he said Jonathan India is going to the All-Star game. No offense to Jonathan India. I just don't think it'll happen.
If I had to pick out of the guys on the roster that have a little bit more to their name, I would say Castellanos. I think he's been going to carry it through what he was doing in the spring training into the regular season. I don't think that Suarez won't be there, but I want him to get better at fielding before I commit to him being there. So,
yeah, that would be nice. You have anything else you want to add, Cortland?
I don't think so.
All right. I think it might be time for us to wrap it up.
Let's do it.
So there's an off day for the Reds tomorrow. Then they start back Saturday. We'll be back here next Thursday at 8:30. I actually don't know what the Reds schedule looks like next week. And I wonder if whenever I tap on my iPad, that's what that ding, ding, ding noise was last week. That would be unfortunate, wouldn't it? It looks like they might have an off day on Thursday.
They do. They play Wednesday. They play Monday and Wednesday.
Perfect.
Or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, you know what that tells me? It tells me that the people that watch this show have no reason not to tune in.
Yes.
Because there's no Reds game to interfere.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the next Thursday they don't have a game either.
Perfect. Look at this. This is just falling right into place.
Well, then the week after they do, but it's at 12:30.
We'll be season pros by then, so they'll want to watch after that.
Yeah, by then we'll be doing 5 shows a day.
Right.
No, that's not going to happen. Okay, so join us next week though, as we have old notes on here talking about the Reds' first week of the regular season.
Yeah.
Hopefully that record will be what I can't do math, but like 6-1 or 5-1.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll take this series 2 and 3, finishing this one up.
Yeah, it's a long road to 161-1, and it starts today. So join us next week on YouTube and Facebook Live. Like I said, video versions will be available after the show airs, and then the audio versions will be available on your favorite podcasting app shortly after. Later that night, I set to upload it. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting apps. And I think that's it. Cortland, you want to sing us out?
Don't forget to interact. It's really fun watching Justin tweet all this stuff, and he's starting to get some feedback on him, which is not in his favor. So,
I do want to add one thing about some feedback. I got some feedback from Bally Sports Cincinnati today.
Did you really?
Yeah, they tweeted me, asked me who my cable provider was. Yeah, it's the end of the top half of the ninth, and then it cuts from the Reds game on opening day to the Cavaliers. No thanks.
To Bally Sports, if you're watching our well-loved program, I quite enjoyed it today. It didn't do that to me. Justin probably deserved it.
So they asked me who my cable provider was, and they said, "Don't worry, we're sending someone over to them now." So, to the people at AT&T TV,
keep watching the headlines.
Yeah. All right, play us out, Cortland.
See you guys.